Yesterday, we have seen some of the pharmacological aspect of selective alpha-1 antagonist. Dear friends, my dear students, you might have gone through the chapter of alpha antagonist. Yesterday, I have forgotten to tell you one thing. You read from my lecture or read from any textbook which you are referring. If you have not understood anything, please note my telephone number. Personally, you can do WhatsApp to me. My number is 98256 60507. I am repeating my number 98256 60507. Okay? 98256 60507. But please don't do WhatsApp for very simple things. Right? If you have not understood, because in this difficult period, we will have to accept the importance of the horses for courses situation. As per the situations, we will have to change the quality and type of our horse. We have a long way to go, right? So today, we will discuss non-selective alpha antagonist. Yesterday, I have given you the classification, and in that classification, we have seen phentolamine, phenoxybenzamine. They are considered as non-selective antagonist, and along with this antagonist, that is non-selective, there are some others, long list of drugs. So it is not necessary at undergraduate level to consider all those agents. But you should know that there is one group of drug. Not only they can block the alpha receptors, but they have some additional action. That means they act on some other receptors who are, in the past they were used, but nowadays their place is dustbin. We are not using them. So not necessary to remember, but at least we should remember names and on which receptor they act. Right? One is indoramine. Second one is ketenserin. And there is long list of drugs which are known as ergot derivatives. Ergot derivatives, these are extremely important group of drugs, and they will be discussed separately when you will have a separate topic under the heading of ergot alkaloids. So I will not discuss because it will be discussed separately, at least in due terms. But we should know that this group of drug is extremely important. There is, I just give you one homework. Otherwise, if I explain, you just explore from the textbook Anthony's Holy Fire, and you will know the importance of ergot alkaloid derivatives. Anthony's Holy Fire. In the index of any textbook, standard textbook which you are reading, you can search from the Google and you will know what is this. Okay? So today we will start with non-selective alpha blockers. And we will start with two drugs, namely phentolamine and phenoxybenzamine. But I request you to write down the lecture. What is being spoken from here, you please note down in your writing pad. It has tremendous positive effect on the retention of memory. When we listen, when we write, both the quality of retention of information in our mind is better than we either speak or either write alone. Right? So I request you to, all students to write down. So phentolamine is a competitive, now remember these two words. Phentolamine is a competitive, reversible antagonist at alpha receptors. Again I am speaking. Phentolamine is a competitive, reversible. Now, importance of this statement which I am making. At the end of the class, today's class, I will ask you one question, and if you have understood the importance of this statement, you will be able to answer. So, phentolamine is a competitive, reversible antagonist at alpha receptors, while phenoxybenzamine is irreversible antagonist at alpha receptors. Clear? When we block alpha receptors, what will happen? They will inhibit the vasoconstriction of the arteries and vein. They will inhibit the vasoconstriction of both arterial as well as vein, and that include the resistance vessels also. So what will happen? It will lead to vasodilatation of the blood vessels. So this vasodilatation can lead to fall in blood pressure. Full point. Okay? Now this vasodilatation will lead to fall in blood pressure. Full point. Now, at this point, I will like to ask one question to you. Directly I cannot ask. So what will be your probable answer? What will be the effect of this group of drugs on cardiac output? Remember, I have put the full point where that they produce peripheral vasodilatation and fall in blood pressure. By default, if there is fall in blood pressure, cardiac output has to decrease. But it is not the situation. On the contrary, cardiac output is increased. Now are you listening? Is it clear? Now this is the information which I am giving you. And you will have to think, you will have to consider what is the reason for increase in the cardiac output, even though the blood pressure has fallen, even though blood pressure has decreased. When blood pressure is decreased, how cardiac output can increase? Just 5 seconds. Just 5 seconds to you. You think for 4, 5, 6 seconds. The hints of your answers lies in yesterday's class. Yesterday I have told. If you are sitting alone, maintaining the social distance, you talk with yourself. Even after maintaining some social distance, you can have discussion with your friend, keeping the distance at least 20 feet between you and your friend. Okay. Now, yesterday, answer is like this. Now, yesterday, we have seen that phentolamine and phenoxybenzamine are non-selective alpha antagonists. So, they will block both alpha 1 and alpha 2. Now, yesterday we have seen the functions of alpha 2 receptors. The basic physiological function of alpha 2 receptors is to inhibit the release of norepinephrine. Yesterday we have seen that alpha 2 receptors are autoreceptors. Now there are so many functions of autoreceptors, but in today's context, in today's main important action is if we produce agonistic action, it will inhibit the release of norepinephrine. If we produce antagonistic action at these alpha 2 receptors, which have been accepted as autoreceptor prejunctionally, if these receptors are situated prejunctionally, and if we produce antagonism of these receptors, there will be further release of norepinephrine. Okay? This is one. So, this release of norepinephrine will act on beta 1 receptors and alpha receptors. So, by action on beta 1 receptors, it produces positive ionotropic and positive chronotropic effect. By action on beta 1 receptors, which are situated on myocardium, that will produce positive ionotropic and positive chronotropic. That means it will increase heart rate as well as the force of contraction. So this action is responsible in addition to reflex stimulation of sympathetic nervous system, which increases the cardiac output. Very, very important. Very, very important. Clear? So have 5, 8, 10 seconds, write down in your notebook. Now, yesterday we have seen with selective alpha 1 antagonists that they are associated with postural hypotension and reflex tachycardia. This group of drugs, that is non-selective alpha antagonists, share the same features. Means there is postural hypotension associated with reflex tachycardia. Clear? Same way. The basic mechanism is same. Yesterday we have seen that if there is more sympathetic tone, the chances of hypotension will be more. Same here. Clear? So again I am not repeating. Now, this group of drugs, yesterday I have touched that aspect and in between I have stopped and I have promised you that we will discuss tomorrow. And I hope that you might have read from any textbook today's class. What is Dale's vasomotor reversal? It might have been taught during the classes of adrenergic agonists, especially some pharmacological actions of epinephrine, right? So you remember this, you recollect this briefly, very, very important phenomenon. It has some clinical relevance part. Clinically important information it has at UG level. I don't think I can discuss, but I will not discuss what is the clinical importance of the Dale's vasomotor reversal. But we should know during the lectures of epinephrine, whoever taught you, they might They might have taught you that adrenaline produces two types of responses. One is depressor and second is biphasic. Right? Depressor and biphasic. So, both phentolamine and phenoxybenzamine produce Dale's vasomotor reversal. Means, if dose of adrenaline is preceded by drugs like phentolamine or phenoxybenzamine, the stimulatory response or pressure response of adrenaline will be converted into depressor response. Means, if we give only adrenaline, it will produce rise in the blood pressure and followed by fall in blood pressure. This is called biphasic response. Right? This is called biphasic response. Write down. If we give only small dose of adrenaline, it will produce only depressor response. Clear? Very important. If slightly higher dose of adrenaline we give, it will gradually produce increase in the blood pressure, fall, that is followed by fall, and finally the fall in the blood pressure is more than the baseline. Clear? This is called biphasic. This is very important. Now, if we give very, very small dose of adrenaline, it will produce only depressor response. This is called depressor response. Clear? But if we give phentolamine or phenoxybenzamine and then give adequate dose, not low dose, intermediate dose, that is slightly higher than the dose, low dose. Forget about the digital value, exact amount. At undergraduate level, it is not important. Clear? Then the stimulatory response is followed by the depressor response. Now we will see directly the therapeutic uses of this non-selective alpha antagonist. Yesterday I have touched some of the aspects related to pheochromocytoma. Clear? Now today we will see little bit in detail. Therapeutic uses of non-selective alpha antagonist. Write down. Number one therapeutic use is phenoxybenzamine is used for the patient of pheochromocytoma. Now heading will be pheochromocytoma. That will be considered as one of the therapeutic uses of phenoxybenzamine or phentolamine. Clear? Now under the heading of pheochromocytoma, what are the important different points? Number one, very, very important. This we can consider as a pharmacological basis of use of phenoxybenzamine in a patient of pheochromocytoma. Number one, it goes without saying that number one reason that take control the blood pressure. Take control the blood pressure in a patient of pheochromocytoma. Now naturally, there is a long list of antihypertensive drugs, new drugs Even there are certain drugs which will block both alpha and beta receptors. Why phentolamine and phenoxybenzamine, especially phenoxybenzamine, is still considered as one of the drugs for pheochromocytoma? Anybody who is attending this class, you will have 5-7 seconds. Try to answer. Talk with yourself. Try to answer. If you have sat with your friend, discuss with them. Why not other? And why phenoxybenzamine can be a good choice in a patient of pheochromocytoma? Very important. Here I will ask the questions. Initially, when I have started the classification of non-selective alpha, I have given you the classification, phentolamine and phenoxybenzamine. Phentolamine is a competitive reversible antagonist, while phenoxybenzamine is non-competitive irreversible antagonist, right? Number one reason, it goes without saying, that they control the blood pressure. Here, beta blockers can be a good choice, but the most important point we should keep in the mind is we can use beta blockers, but there should be prior blockade of alpha receptors with the help of phenoxybenzamine. I am repeating the sentence again. First, we will have to produce blockade at alpha receptor by an appropriate alpha blocker, and then beta blocker. Is it clear? Is it clear? The reason we will discuss just after that. It should be clear first. Now again you talk with yourself. Why there should be a first alpha receptor blockade and then beta? If we go directly to beta blockade, if we go for the blockade of beta receptor, what will happen? There will be unopposed action of alpha receptor. Right? Suppose if we block the beta 1 receptors, naturally blood pressure will be slightly decreased, because we are decreasing the positive inotropic and positive chronotropic effect of epinephrine and norepinephrine, which will act on beta 1 receptors of the myocardium. But we are doing nothing against the actions of epinephrine and norepinephrine on alpha receptors, which are situated peripherally in the blood vessels. Right? So what will happen? Blood pressure will try to shoot up further. If it was 160, it may be 170. If our beta blockade is not preceded by alpha blockade. Clear? That is very, very important. Very, very important. What we are discussing? We are discussing indirectly the pharmacological basis of use of alpha receptor antagonist in a patient of pheochromocytoma. Now second reason is to prevent or to inhibit the contraction of plasma volume. To inhibit or to prevent the contraction of plasma volume. Very, very important. During the classes of catecholamines, you might have been taught the different actions of catecholamines on the peripheral blood vessels. I will not go into detail, but they produce vasoconstriction by their action on alpha receptors. So by producing agonistic action at alpha receptors of the peripheral blood vessel, what will be the sequelae, what will be the consequences, what will be the end product action of this? The plasma volume will be contracted. Plasma volume will be contracted. Suppose if it is 2 liters, 3 liters, if it is 3 liters, then it will be 2 liters, right? So naturally, if plasma volume is contracted, the perfusion of vital organs may be or might be compromised. Clear? Because of this reason, patients of pheochromocytoma, if going to be operated, this phenoxybenzamine and phentolamine are started before at least 8 to 10 days. Because full-fledged action will be seen after minimum 8 to 10 days. Suppose if you have taken patient for operation at 8 a.m. today, you cannot start this phenoxybenzamine and phentolamine at 7:45 a.m. Some 8 to 10 days are needed to prevent the actions of contraction of the plasma by this group of drugs. Is it clear? Very, very important. Very, very important. Now, third reason. Third reason is these drugs, this group of drugs prevent the damage to the myocardium. We know by our knowledge of physiology that consistent exposure of myocardium to catecholamines, it may be epinephrine, maybe or norepinephrine, whatever it is can produce some constant degree of damage to the myocardium. So this group of drugs, in addition to control the blood pressure, do have 2 important actions. One is inhibition of or prevention of the contraction of the plasma, and second one is the prevention of damage to the myocardium. Very, very important. Clear? Now, my promise still stands there. I have asked you. I will ask you one question. When I was discussing the classification of non-selective alpha antagonist. Now, out of this phentolamine and phenoxybenzamine, which drug you will prefer for a patient of pheochromocytoma? Just have 5-7 seconds, 8-10 seconds. Just imagine. Unfortunately, you are not here. Very, very unfortunately, you are not here. So live interaction is not possible. Out of these two, I will prefer phenoxybenzamine, and I hope you will agree with me. The reason or the pharmacological basis of choice or preference for phenoxybenzamine over phentolamine is 2 words. It is irreversible. It is irreversible. Means irreversible means, suppose even if a patient of pheochromocytoma, in a patient of pheochromocytoma, if concentration of catecholamines are increased due to any reason, from 10 microgram per ml to 15 microgram, due to any reason, simple exercise, stress, there will not be any change in the response of phenoxybenzaimine, while there is every possibility that response of phentolamine will be lowered, will be decreased. Right? Very clear. I have used word irreversible. During the classes of general pharmacology, you might have been taught the various characteristics of competitive and non-competitive. The maximum response is decreased. The response is not surmountable. Well, clear? So because of this reason, the response of or effect or action, whatever you call it, of phenoxybenzaimine cannot be reversed by an increase in the concentration of competitive antagonism. This is extremely intelligent. Now next use. Phentolamine is used for hypertensive crisis, which follows the withdrawal of clonidine. You might have been taught, I don't know whether you have been taught clonidine or not, but clonidine is a alpha 2 agonist, right? Very good antihypertensive agents. But if we stop these drugs suddenly, abruptly, what will happen? There is compensatory increase in the blood pressure because of supersensitivity of receptors, alpha 2, which may be peripheral, right? Which may be peripheral. Clonidine can cross the blood-brain barrier and can go to the CNS and can inhibit the release of norepinephrine, epinephrine, and can produce fall in blood pressure. But we should not forget that it has some peripheral action also, alpha receptors of the blood vessels. Whatever, forget the reason. But this is the reason why phentolamine can be used when patient or a clinician needs to stop clonidine. Now next use is very, very important use. It is in relation to cheese. Nowadays our dietary habits are changing. Young generations are very fond of eating some eatable items, some foods. And one of them is cheese, pizza, burger. Very common constitute or one common ingredient is cheese. And this is known as cheese reaction. You might have been taught during the classes of catecholamines and their metabolism. Now, how this cheese reaction can take place? Very, very important. Imagine for 7-8 seconds, then I will answer. Cheese reaction. Okay? Fine. So cheese reaction can take place. Now you imagine that the patient whom you are treating is on MAO inhibitor due to any reason. MAO, that is monoamine oxidase enzymes. They are one of the popular drugs for patient of depression. A psychiatry resident has prescribed MAO inhibitor for a patient of depression. A psychiatric resident, a resident in psychiatry has prescribed MAO inhibitors for a depression. MAO inhibitor is one of the common drugs for patient of depression. Now, that gentleman of psychiatry has failed to give one important instruction to the patient. Right? This can come under the heading of prescription error. We can very easily put this mistake under the heading of prescription error. Now that gentleman has failed to advise to the patient that avoid certain foods, red wine, cheese, and there are some other foods also, but these are two very common. Cheese. Now how it can lead to cheese reaction? Now cheese is a very, very good source of tyramine. Right? You might have been taught during the classes of symptomimetic agents, this pharmacological actions of tyramine, and it has been accepted as indirectly acting symptomimetic agents. So what it will do in the body? It will produce release of catecholamines in the body, epinephrine and norepinephrine. It is their fundamental action. Now, there will be a good amount of, there is a good release of epinephrine and norepinephrine in a patient, right? Now, that patient is taking one of the MAO inhibitors, any MAO inhibitors, non-selective. Now, MAO inhibitors, if adequate quota of MAO, monoamine oxidase enzyme is there, they will metabolize the catecholamine, which are released because of actions of tyramine. But here, what will be the scenario? We are producing inhibition of the metabolism of catecholamine. So what are the actions of catecholamine? Both epinephrine and norepinephrine, by produce positive ionotropic, positive chronotropic effect, they produce tremendous rise in blood pressure. And there are incidents reported in the past that patients who are on MAO inhibitors accidentally consume cheese or red wine or other product which are rich in tyramine have died of hypertensive crisis. This is very important. Now, next therapeutic use of this non-selective alpha antagonist. Now, I will go a little bit fast because I will have to give two exercises. You please, if you don't have a notepad, you take your ball pen, take your writing pad, and take down the exercise. If you write down, when you will write down, I will tell you. So next therapeutic use of non-selective alpha antagonist is to make the differential diagnosis of hypertension. Anybody, not anybody, it is out of habits I am asking anybody, but everybody who is attending these e-classes, how it can produce differential diagnosis of hypertension. 5 seconds. Please have 5 seconds to answer the question. There are different types of hypertension, right? Hypertension essential hypertension, there is hypertension because of dietary habits, excessive sodium, chloride, salts, the hypertension due to pheochromocytoma, right? So you imagine that patient is having hypertension because of pheochromocytoma on one side, and patient is having hypertension, essential hypertension, where there is no clear-cut cause. Is it clear? Now, if you give phentolamine to a patient of hypertension, which is because of pheochromocytoma, and to a patient who has essential hypertension, there might be two different type of responses with the same dose of phentolamine with equal level of hypertension. Equal level of hypertension means, suppose in this patient there is systolic is 160, diastolic is 100. In this patient there should be 160 and 100 diastolic. If you give phentolamine to these two patients, two different sets of patients of hypertension, proportionally there will be a more fall in blood pressure in a patient. His hypertension is due to pheochromocytoma. His blood pressure, his hypertension is because of pheochromocytoma. Meaning, if patient is having hypertension because of pheochromocytoma, there will be a fall in 30 millimeter of mercury in systolic. On the other side, if patient's hypertension is essential hypertension, there will be a fall by 20 millimeter of mercury in a patient of hypertension. So this is called differential diagnosis of, but this test is risky. We cannot perform. Why? Have 5 seconds. Imagine why this test should be risky. Why this test can prove to be risky. What we are giving here? Phentolamine. So what will be there? There is unopposed actions of beta receptor, because we are not blocking beta receptor. So the actions of catecholamine on alpha receptors will be blocked in both type of patient, but the actions of catecholamine on beta 1 receptors of the myocardium will not be blocked. Right? So there is every possibility that blood pressure of the patient might shoot up. Is it clear? I don't want to go into further detail, but it should be very clear. Now next I will go little bit. Next therapeutic use of this phentolamine is, they are used, very, very important, they are used sometimes in peripheral vascular disease like Raynaud disease. In Raynaud disease, what happened? There is vasoconstriction leading to compromised blood circulation to the digits, where collateral circulation is very, very poor. Digits. Right? So alpha antagonist action at this side is very important. Now next therapeutic use, I will go little bit fast, otherwise I will not be able to give you one PBL. You will write down the PBL, 2 PBL under the heading of PBL and ADR, adverse drug reaction, which are generally asked in your university exam, can be there. Clear? Very, very important. The next therapeutic use of this drug is to reversal of local anesthetic action. Now, during the classes of local anesthesia, in future you will see that local anesthetic agents are mixed with some symptomimetic agents like epinephrine, just to prolong the duration of actions of local anesthesia. It has some disadvantages. So if our purpose is solved, we don't want any further prolonged actions of local anesthetic, because we have added this epinephrine and it can prolong, but at the same time circulation in the digit can be compromised. So to revert this, to stop this non-selective alpha antagonist can be used, so we can cut short. So I will go little bit fast. Now next is indoramine and ketenserine. Indoramine is alpha 1, H1 and 5-HT antagonist because of some superior available agents. It is not nowadays used. Ketanserin. Ketanserin before 15, 20, 25 years back was one of the agents for hypertension as well as migraine. It was good agent, but nowadays because of some limitation of this drug and because of availability of superior drugs, no more they are used. Now, it is a request to you, you just take out your writing pad, ball pen, whatever it is. Okay, fine. Before I forget, there is one alpha-2 antagonist. Selective alpha-2 antagonist, yohimbine. In USA and in some European countries, yohimbine is added to different eatable items because of its aphrodisiac property. It increases the sexual power, but it is off-label use. You might have been taught a different type of uses, clinical use, prophylactic use, off-label use, right? So off-label use, it is not the official use. So it is how it increase the sexual power of a patient at UG level. It is not the topic which should be discussed, but you should remember that yohimbine is a selective alpha-2 antagonist which can increase the sexual power. So we can say that it is more abused than used. Okay? Now you take out your ball pen, writing pad, and within 10 minutes you complete this PBL. So I will just read and you will write. Girish bhai, samrasa nahi hai. So you will write down a 46-year lady visit her physician because of palpitation and headache. A 46-year-old lady visits or meets her clinician or physician because of palpitation and headache. You please write down fast. Up till now she was okay. Otherwise, up till now she was okay. Gradually she developed rapid heart rate. Gradually palpitation and tachycardia become more and more severe. Gradually the tachycardia and palpitation became more and more severe, and it is associated with throbbing headache. Her blood pressure was 160/90. Blood pressure was 160/90 and heart rate was 94 per minute. During palpitation of abdomen, her blood pressure raises to further higher level by 180/100, by 100, 180 systolic and 100 diastolic. Clear? I think everybody, now you should develop of writing very fast, because in university exams, it is our observation that students are not able to complete their theory paper in spite of they know everything about the subject. Now, number one question, what is likely cause of the condition of the patient? What is the likely cause of the condition of the patient? Write down fast. Second question, which laboratory investigation will confirm the diagnosis of the patient? Which laboratory investigation will confirm the diagnosis of the patient? That is question number 3. Question 4. How you will treat this patient? How you will treat this patient? What precautions you will take during your treatment? What precautions you will take during the treatment? And briefly describe pharmacological basis of use of drug mentioned by you. Briefly describe the pharmacological basis of use of the drug mentioned by you. Clear? So this is over. Now next, PBL, or you can call it adverse drug reaction also. Adverse drug reaction you can call two sides of a coin, and you can also call PBL, right? So take down this. And one middle-aged patient has mild hypertension. One middle-aged patient has mild hypertension. He is on hydrochlorothiazides as a monotherapy. His blood pressure is stable since few weeks. But nowadays, his blood pressure is not controlled with monotherapy with hydrochlorothiazide. But his blood pressure is not controlled with monotherapy with hydrochlorothiazides. Clinician prescribe him selective alpha-1 antagonist prazosin. On very first day, after taking prazosin, patient feel giddiness, profusely sweating, fainting, and patient collapse. In relation to above scenario, answer the following. Right? Question number 1. Describe briefly sign and symptoms shown by the patient. After taking prazosin. Second question, what is this phenomenon called? Which is seen when patient consume prazosin? And give pharmacological basis of this phenomenon. Third question. What advice you will give to patient so that this phenomenon cannot be repeated again? What advice you will give to your patient so that this phenomenon cannot repeat or cannot happen again? That is question number 3. Right? Now, it is a request to all students. It is request to all students to please very honestly try to answer this PBL or adverse drug reaction, whatever you call it. Take the help of the textbook. If you are not able to understand, if you are not able to write, my mobile number is, again I am repeating, 98256 60507. 98256 60507. Even I have forgotten my number. 98256 60507. Initially after 6 I have given you 0. That is wrong. 98256 60507. Right? For any question, for any query, for any problem, free field to ask any questions. Thank you. Take care. Stay safe.